April and September, expect to see tight, close quarter racing. The Porsche Esports Supercup.
Green flag is in the air, away we go, and it is a good start from Kevin Ellis Jr. on pole position, down into turn number 1. Jared Filselder got a good launch. Patrick Holtzman and Max Benecke are going to go side by side through 1. Benecke gets bullied off the track over the grass. He's going to lose a little bit of momentum and speed there as they're going into the S's once again for the first time. Drivers now getting themselves sorted in a single file. 28, Alexander Thebe was getting pushed wide there by Graham Carroll, it looked like it was then, but into the bus stop for the first time, and it's still that Apex Racing team. Oh, battle and then side by side into contact. Jack Sedgwick and Alexander Thebe at the bus stop chicane. We said that was going to be a place, there's an Altus car up as well. We said that was going to be a place where potentially there would be incidents, and that's exactly what we've seen here on the opening lap. Sedgwick getting caught by Alexander Thebe into there. That sent those two all the way down your field, but we're still green flag racing here as they go through the toe of the boot, heading uphill now on the exit that corner side by side. That's Max Jensen and Ricardo Castroledo through the toe of them, and they're going to sort themselves out. So Jensen staying ahead for the time being onto the brakes, and Castroledo's going to have to try and make his way through in a different way. But through 8 into 9 they all go. Everybody's still behaving themselves pretty much apart from that opening incident, and we'll see, look at the replay back then of the start then, and Connery, it was Jack Sedgwick who got turned. That's what kicked it all off there at the bus stop chicane.
Yeah, there we go. There's the slide there from the rear Ascot Sim Sports driver ahead that actually caught up one of the pure cars and caused even further carnage behind as well. Some questionable rejoins there, especially from the driver of the PRT machine, which I believe, looking at this one, would have been the driver of Lauren Henry. No, it was Alexander Thebe that came back across the circuit in a pretty questionable manner, but that will be looked at by the stewards after this race, that one is for sure. But looking back at the front of the field now, Kevin Ellis Jr. going to come under threat from his teammate Ben Filsell. He has to be careful. He knows that he can't be having any contact with his teammate here, especially when it comes to a feature race lead. But I have to say this, Paul, Jared Filsell is the faster driver here, but how much Apex Racing team actually going to let these guys race, or are they going to negotiate a swap? Because the longer that Filsell stays behind here, the more of a threat Holtzman, Job, Fanchak, Benecke are behind, and we'll just have a completely stacked up field for the race lead for the entire race.
But don't forget, it is an individual championship. There are no teams championships in this. It's every man for himself. So as well, Filsell looking to get the better exit at the corner. Kamil Franchek there as well, putting the pressure on Sebastian Job in third place. As fourth place, should I say, sorry. But the rest of your field looking through. Sedgwick is trying to make some moves, trying to recover from that incident at the bus stop chicane. But through the go, we're on board with De Jong then, trying to have a good second race here after a bit of a nightmare that he had in the race number 1 here today. But it's a 30-minute race, plenty of time for things to happen, and these drivers need to settle down into a rhythm pretty early on here, try and get themselves and this is where more the thinking man driver would come into play here, and really come into play in terms of how they work their moves on the drivers in front. But it's still Ellis Jr. ahead of Filsell, with Holtzman, who we're on board with, in third place, and Sebastian Job fourth place. So it's Apex Racing Team 1-2, Red Bull Racing Esports Team 3-4 as they head up the hill towards the bus stop chicane, and Filsell looking but backing off there, and he's just waiting, biding his time here. But all this time, Connery, as you mentioned, that's allowing Holtzman to keep in that slipstream.
Yeah, this is Phil Sell. I get what he's going for here. He doesn't want to go for a lunge on his teammate. He doesn't want to make contact with his teammate. He's already been involved in contact himself in that sprint race, so he knows the danger of going for moves down into the bus stop. But all it's doing is just stacking up everyone here behind your two Apex Racing team cars. And of course, you have the Rebel Racing Esports there, just ready and waiting to pounce in case there's a little bit of an altercation between the two teammates in front. You can see Sebastian Job, well, further down the line, he just briefly weaved in and out of line. We were on board with Maximum Benecke here, looking to gain a huge amount of points over his next two challengers in the point standings. Mitchell de Jong down the field. Joshua Rodgers also very far down the field. So Benecke is going to have a fantastic day here if he can at least finish inside this top 6, which he already is.
Yeah, absolutely. It's ahead through turn number 10 once again. Into 11, the final corner, and really it's a queue of cars from first all the way down, I would say, to around 17th at the moment. So that's just how long this queue of traffic is. We can't even fit it on screen, that's how long this queue of traffic is. But as they head into turn number 1, you have to say Phil Sell putting the pressure on his teammate once again, as Marcus Jensen now with the fastest lap of the race, a 50.5, as they go up the hill now through the S's. And this is where Phil Sell can use the slipstream, use that extra speed that it gives him. He's going to have to make the move, and he's not, he's backing off again. So it's the question of they're working together and trying to work away from the guys behind, but the thing is, they're not pulling away from the guys behind. They've got Patrick Holtzman and Sebastian Job and the rest of that queue all just waiting patiently for them to make a move.
I think it's also a slightly similar issue here with the Rebel Racing Esports driver, because typically in my mind I'd rank Sebastian Job above Patrick Holtzman, and if you look at qualifying times, that is certainly the case, with 0.3 of a second going the way of Sebastian Job. So this is a bit of an awkward situation here at the front of the field, where the faster driver doesn't want to put a move on the slower driver for fear of taking them out the race. But further back through the field, that was a Williams Esports car that was involved in an altercation there down towards the toe. That's Lauren Henreich there as they head their way down towards the heel. So pretty much the entire field all the way down to, I would say, around about P27 here are basically still all in the same train.
As Heinrich trying to make the move there on the 47 of Alejandro Sanchez, and that's going to allow the door to be opened to the car behind, which is Josh Rodgers, who's trying to recover his way through this field. But we turn our attention to the front. You saw Kevin Ellis Jr. just getting a little bit loose on the exit of that final corner. Phil Sell, there's only so long you can wait behind. You have to make a move and make it stick. And I suppose the thing that he's concerned about is if he makes a move, those other Red Bull cars and the rest of the queue might make the move on them as well. So it could end up costing Kevin Ellis Jr. a lot more points. But right now, Ellis Jr., he isn't the one in a championship battle. Phil Sell still has an outside chance of a championship here. There's still plenty of points available. Patrick Holtzman, though, 7th in the championship. He is ahead by 4 places of his teammate Sebastian Job in the championship. So it's all well and good saying that Job's the quicker driver, but Holtzman is in the better position for the championship as well. This is why I mentioned it is every person for themselves. It is not a team's championship, and that's what made it so good. As we look at Kamil Franczak, who quite frankly is having one of the best meetings of this season for himself in the Triton racing car.
Yeah, he is having a very, very good day indeed. And just to put that in perspective, well, his best race result in a feature race is going to be P27. P27 is his best result in a feature race. His best result in a sprint race is P4. That was at the second round of the season. But Franczak is looking to gain a very, very good points haul to launch himself all the way up the points table here with a top 5 finish. But the thing is, he has to hold on to it. And when you have Maximum Benecke and Gregor Hutu behind you, that looks to be a little bit more difficult.
I was going to say it's easier said than done, that's for sure, as they head into the final corner once again. We have got 10 minutes in the books almost. As they go across the line, it's 20 minutes and 40 seconds remaining in this one. Got 3 drivers in a group there. and it is Alejandro Sanchez who's in the sandwich there. Moritz Lerner in front and Josh Rogers 26th behind. And those three battling it out. Rogers looking to the inside into turn 1. You can make the move and make it stick, and that's exactly what he's done there. Sanchez runs wide and Rogers takes advantage of that, and he sets his sights now on that car of Moritz Lerner as they go through the S's, trying to use the slipstream to get ahead. It's as you were at the front, so we don't need to worry about them, but Rogers, he's on a bit of a charge here ahead of Sanchez.
I mean, he has to be on a bit of a charge. He just needs to gain the most amount of points possible, which is the most obvious statement when you can make in these sorts of races. But the context of it is that at this stage, Joshua Rogers is at risk of losing the championship lead perhaps here, depending on how the point situation turns out and where Maximilian Benecke finishes. So the whole point standings could be a completely different picture heading into the next round of Silverstone, unless he can recover a lot more than what he has done so right now. There's a move further back though in the shot. That was Joshua Rogers again trying to make moves stick, and it looks like it has happened there over Moritz Lerner. So Rogers, he's making the best out of this recovery drive right now, but he needs to get arguably inside the top 20 to be not happy but content with the way the feature race has gone.
I don't think he'll be content with that either, to be honest.
Yeah, but
now then, we had an issue for one of the Red Bull cars. Graham Carroll went over the grass on the exit of turn number 9, and that cost him a bit of time. He almost touched the barrier there, I believe. We'll have a look once again on board. This is Graham Carroll, so he's coming out that corner. The back end steps out, gets onto the grass, and he does touch that barrier, just grazes it. It doesn't appear to have done too much damage to the car, so he seems to have got away with that one. But Graham, that's a bit of heart in mouth moment for him right there.
Yeah, that is so close. Looks like he's gotten away in terms of the damage, though. But if we look back to the race lead, this is the most obvious opportunity that Phil Sell has had, and he does take it. Driver's right-hand side. But the thing is, what does Kevin Harris Jr. do? He backs out, and they might have just negotiated this move fairly there down in towards the bus stop, because Kevin Harris Jr. didn't lose the more than one position there, so he knows that Phil Sell probably had the move complete if they hit the brakes down into the bus stop side by side, and going side by side with your teammate through there is just going to end in tears. So you can see Kevin Harris Jr. backing out, knowing that he's beat, but the thing is, the Red Bull Racing esports drivers behind were not close enough to be able to capitalize on this. So there we go. Jared Phil-Sell, his objective, run for the hills, and Kevin Harris Jr. keep all the sharks behind.
Yeah, absolutely, and he's going to have a tough job of that now, because Patrick Holtzman, Sebastian Job, they want to get by as quickly as possible to keep in the draft of that Apex Racing Team car of Phil Sell, Holtzman, and he's forced his way through. Look at that move, great stuff there. And now Job, he's trying to make it, but Kevin Ellis Jr. is not giving this one up without a fight. And the Scotsman down the inside drifts it out of turn number 9 into towards turn number 10, but he's not alongside, so he's going to have to blend in behind. So he's down to 3rd place from 1st on this lap. And Holtzman now, that's exactly what Patrick needed to do. He needed to make that move, make it quick, and then get onto the draft of Jared Phil-Sell in front as they come down this front straightaway. And now Sebastian Job all over the back of his former teammate Kevin Ellis Jr. as they go through the right-hander. And look at this now, underneath the rear wing, but he's having to back out of it through the S's. He realizes he's too close through the S's here, but he can get on the power now, try and use the slipstream, but Ellis Jr. has got the slipstream of Holtzman in front, and well, Job is not close enough to make that move and make it stick, so he's going to have to stay in 4th place for the time being. But there's been a little bit of movement further back as well.
Yeah, Franchek made a mistake.
Yeah, Franchek has dropped down to 10th place then, and that was on the run from the S's down towards the boot. So we'll get a replay of this, and well, we'll get a replay of it hopefully at some point. But we'll look back. We'll look back at this move then by Holtzman on Kevin Ellis Jr.
Yeah, a little bit of contact involved in that one, but not what I would say is out of malice or in any way egregious. As you can see, the continue side by side through turn 9 between the two of them. That's where Holtzman was able to complete the move. And then once we cycle this one all the way through, you can see them still trying to go bumper to bumper on their way through the final corner. As actually, on the live picture, Sebastian Job has actually headed his way down the inside of Kevin Ellis Jr. So that is actively happening out there on circuit. There we go. We've got it. Sebastian Job inside line from the penultimate corner. They rub doors. Oh, Kevin Ellis Jr. gets shoved out over onto the curb. And here comes Maximilian Benecke then inside line for the final corner. He's not able to make anything work through there. But that's Sebastian Job through. Red Bull Racing Esports making the passes as Kevin Ellis Jr. slips even further down. This side by side between Hutu and Benecke now on the live pictures. That is Benecke trying to defend the inside line, and he does from Hutu. But Hutu looking aggressive at this stage as well.
And that's what happens when you try and make that move into that final corner down the inside. You have to check yourself up, which compromises your run out of the corner, and that's what we saw exactly. So Benecke able to stay ahead of Hutu, but he wasn't able to take advantage of Ellis Jr. Getting the mistake there through Sebastian Job making his way through. Now we've got plenty of drivers, plenty of action going on. The number 5 car then, Martin Kroenke, has looked back through the carousel there, and it is a smorgasbord of action here. And Thomas Tahala is one of those drivers involved there, as Johan Vaz, Antoine Higeland, Jack Sedgwick, they're all in here in this battle. Sedgwick is trying to make the moves, and we'll see what happened back at the chicane then. And we'll look at this because it was a lovely move from Thomas Tahala. Great stuff from him to be able to gain 2 positions through that corner, but we saw a little bit of rubbing there through the carousel between the two of them as they head on into the boot then. But back to live pictures, and still that queue of traffic together, they are putting under each other under intense pressure. But Thomas Tahala, I say my hat goes off to him for move of the day right there, taking 2 spots on the exit of the bus stop chicane.
Yeah, it was absolutely brilliant stuff. And Thomas, he wasn't a name that really we would consider to be one in this series in the first place. He's really come out of nowhere over the past couple of months, and he's really made an impact. And it's yet another Finnish driver that is very quick indeed. Of course, it seems to be a tradition both in real life and on the sim racing side of things, for that you can have so many talented drivers from one relatively small nation in terms of population. But there's the top 8 up on screen for you now. Jared Filsell leads Holtzman by 1 second. We've got Sebastian Job P3, Kevin Ellis Jr. still trying to hold on to P4 right now, with Maximilian Benecke 5th, Gregor Hutu 6th, Graham Carroll 7th, Martin Kroenke will round out your top 8 here. So right now it looks like on the timing we have a 3-car breakaway at the front of the field. That is Filsell, Holtzman and Job, and now it's this whole entire train for the P4 here as well, involving Benecke, Hutu, Carroll, Kroenke, Williams. You can count in this one as well, as the times start to spread themselves out a little bit. It's not one huge train like it was a little bit earlier on in the race, but still potential for lots and lots of action to happen, and there might just be another flashpoint as well as drivers get desperate.
As we're on board with Kroenke then, the car number 5, working his way through, trying to make the moves. And speaking of making moves, Johan Vaz under pressure now from Antoine Higeland as they're going out of the toe of the boot, heading into this tight right-hander here, turn number 8, the heel, as they're going 2 by 2 through that corner and sorting themselves out. It's Higeland ahead of the 46 car of Johan Vaz, but Vaz making the move back. And look at Jack Sedgwick trying to get involved in this. We're on board with Niles Kirsch here, and Kirsch, well, he's got nowhere to go here in that Williams Esport car. They're still side by side. Kirsch goes wide. He's off the track there, but they're still side by side, door banging through the corner, and Johan Vaz has lost a ton of time there. He's lost out places as well, and here come 3 wide down the start straight. Tommy Erstgaard and Josh Rogers, the recovering Josh Rogers, now up to 19th. Contact between the two of them, and it's Johan Vaz who comes off the worst there through turn number 1, and he's dropping all the way down to 25th, possibly even coming under pressure for 26th.
2 into 1, more like 3 into 1 doesn't go, but Joshua Rogers is able to get away on that inside. It was Ostgaard and Vaz that had the contact on the outside of the corner there into turn 1, and now we're on board with Jack Cedric as he tries to defend position from another recovering Commander driver. That's Mitchell de Jong, who had a terrible race in the sprint race, terrible qualifying, not been the best here in the feature race, but he has picked up a couple of positions here and there. And again, it's another one of your championship contenders that has had an absolutely horrible time here today, but he still has points on the cards. Cedric ahead, you've got Anton Hegland further down the line as well, up in towards turn 7, following very, very closely coming through here. We've seen moves down into the heel. That might just be what Mitchell de Jong is planning, but arguably he doesn't get a good enough run out of turn 7 to make that one a possibility here, so he'll have to stay behind just for a couple of moments longer. And this is what we're used to seeing from that shot alone, just how stacked together this entire field is. It seems like with about 20 minutes of racing done already, there's still these huge trains going on.
Well, I could tell you that first down to 16th are covered by 10 seconds. That's how close this field is. It's absolutely crazy. But it's what we see week in, week out. Max Benecke we're on board with, riding on board the roof of his Pure Racing team car. The German trying to catch up and pass Kevin Ellis Jr., who's managed to stay in that 4th place, but he's dropped back a second now to Patrick Holtzman. By the way, your lead gap is 1.3 seconds worth mentioning there as well. So those 2 Red Bull cars, they're not able to make it. But Sebastian Job is actually ahead of Holtzman. That's interesting to point out in that battle in 2nd place. But look at this now, further down, Josh Rogers, he's got the 33 car behind him, and as they go down up the hill, Nels Kush trying to use the slipstream, trying to get in, but can't make that move. But Josh Rogers now, he's got his sights set in front of him, David Novakovsky for 17th, and Mitchell de Jong, the man who was in 2nd place going into this round, right ahead of David Novakovsky. So this battle, it is pretty important, because Josh Rogers, he could do with getting as close as possible to Mitchell de Jong, just to try and minimise the any potential gap in the championship standings here from this race. But it's put with the likes of Benecke, Job and Holtzman up at the front, as well as Phil Sell. His gap's going to be cut down anyway, as looking at this, the 24 on the brakes, not able to make the move. Mitchell de Jong and Sedgwick doing a really good job of being defender and attacker at the same time.
Yeah, very, very good job indeed. And, you know, that is simply a necessity in a series like this one with everyone stacked together. We have had the gap at the front of the field come down a little bit, though. Sebastian Job really putting in the hard yards here to try and edge that gap in. It was a 151 flat from Phil Sell. It was a 150.7 for Sebastian Job. That's a good couple of tenths of a second taken out, and he needs to do that over in all of the laps now before the end of this race if he's going to have a chance, arguably, here on the last lap of the event. It was a 1/10 and a bit second gain on that last lap, and you can see it's been a trend over the last couple as well. Patrick Holtzman, though, starting to lose touch of his teammate. You can see that on the lap time deltas as well. So Sebastian Job is giving the chase, trying to pull Holtzman along here, but with about 4.5 laps, I'd like to say, to go here. Still unlikely here for Sebastian Job, but if there's you know, one opportunity that he has to get a feature race win here in this series, this one's going to be it.
Pavel Franchek, after making that mistake earlier on in this race, he's trying to make amends here. He's in 10th place, but putting all sorts of pressure on David Williams in 9th place as he goes through the chutes in towards the turf. This is a battle for 9th and 10th place here on the track. As further down your order, I can see on the timing screen, we've got Josh Rogers and David Novakovsky. They're side by side going through the turn, and it's going to be Josh Rogers who potentially could make the move stick. Novakovsky gets the better run off of the corner because he was wide, but Rogers has got the inside line here, and that's going to be him making the position. So up to 17th now, and crucially behind his teammate Mitchell de Jong, his championship rival, who's in 16th. So that's going to be his next target now. He wants to look forward to Joshua. But David Novakovsky, don't write him off here. He can still put some moves in as we're heading in towards the final 6 minutes of this race. So just a few laps remaining in this one. But still, it's been a great race, some great moves as well. As look at this, defensive driving ahead now. Jack Sedgwick going to the inside, Mitchell de Jong to the outside of turn number 1. And Sedgwick is going to lose the position, is he? Mitchell de Jong runs wide through turn number 1, and they're still going to be side by side through the S's. You don't really want to be doing this because that's going to slow each other down, and that's allowing Josh Rogers to get a great run on the both of them here. He's in the slipstream now. Can he make the move? Sedgwick going defensive. He's already lost 1 position to de Jong. He doesn't want to lose another position here to Rogers. Into the chicane. There's a little bump from Rogers there. That puts Sedgwick wide through the final part of the chicane. Hopefully he doesn't end up with a slowdown penalty from that one, but that has concertinaed that whole queue of traffic behind Josh Rogers now, because here comes David Novakovsky trying to make the move into the chute, but nothing forthcoming here. But that was all getting a little bit close, a little bit tight there through the bus stop chicane.
It was, and it might not be done. There's Jamie Fluke on the back of this one, looking to work his way through, and he's got passes for the pickings here right in front of him. Everyone stacked together. This would be a fantastic recovery from the qualifying ban that Jamie Fluke had if he's able to pull off a couple of passes here and there. We're on board with Kamil Franchak, though, for P10 as he looks to chase down the Quanda driver of David Williams. He got a little bit of oversteer coming through the heel there, and that is just how the cars have been behaving throughout this entire race, and of course the sprint race as well. They are very much on edge with the track temp being as high as it is. It's up to 44 degrees now. Of course, that's actually a little bit cooler than we had in the qualifying in the start of the sprint race, where it was more like in the 50s. So the dynamic sort of sky coming into full effect here as we get later on into the afternoon. That temperature can drop off and give these drivers a little bit of an easier time. But if you're in that particular train that we've just seen, that is not an easy time by the dictionary definition.
But look at that, Mitchell de Jong has been able to make a breakaway of it from this train of cars. And Jack Sedgwick now going to be a bit more of a sitting duck here because he's 0.8 of a second behind de Jong. And here comes Rogers now. We're on board with him through the S's. You can see how much just those little adjustments having to make to the steering as they go up the hill now. And it is uphill all the way to the bus stop chicane. There you can see the damage from that little bit of contact earlier on the previous lap. And look how much speed Rogers is able to carry through the bus stop chicane into the carousel once again. But Sedgwick, he's shown at times that he can make those moves and have a good run in this series. It just becomes unfortunate sometimes with some of the things that happen in the races. But right now, Sedgwick showing his all against Joshua Rogers, championship leader going into this round, to go through the turn once again. British driver versus Australian. So it's the battle of the Commonwealth. On the brakes then from Rogers, dive to the inside, nearly making a move but not making it stick for the time being as they're heading up the hill into the left-hander. And still Sedgwick holding on to that position. Really good driving from Jack, and that queue of cars just waiting behind patiently to make some positions. But up near towards the front of your field, Franchak still pretty close but not able to make any moves on David Williams. But we've just had it pointed out, Connery, that gap at the front has closed up once again, yep. But it's only 1/10 of a second between the two of them on the last lap.
I still want to keep a close eye on this one, though, because Sebastian Job, you know, he can, with the pace that he's going right now, he probably won't be in the position to capitalize on the during the last lap here. But if he can just put that sort of bad thought into Jared Philsell's head that Sebastian Job is catching here, then it might start to unsettle him just a little bit. 0.6 of a second is the gap coming up through the bus stop for the second to last time here as Sebastian Job tries to search for his first feature race win of this entire series. We look back to the couple of the battles that we were looking at previously as well. We can see Graham Carroll having to put up the defense on Martin Kroenke here as they head their way through the turn 6 chute here. And Kroenke Of course, he's had some pretty decent results in this series so far. He had the sprint and feature race win at Mid-Ohio, don't forget. So that was a particularly good day for him. But the rest of the races have been mixed to good, I would say. He's just been consistently inside that top 10, just getting the points here and there. There's a side-by-side battle behind, though. That's David Williams working his way through on Camel Franchak there. And
Jack
you've also
Sedgwick
got
as well, yeah.
Two battles simultaneously with both the same teams here. Jack Sedgwick and Joshua Rogers now is the picture that we're watching on the way up towards turn 9. Rogers outside looking for the cut back through the corner, but very good defensive driving there from Jack Sedgwick, just sealing off that line on the exit of the corner, just slowing it up deliberately a little bit as to deny the line from Rogers.
Yeah, that's great defensive driving. We've seen that throughout the season with many of the drivers in the series. But we are on the last lap now of this race. So it's all or nothing here in this week 6 of the Porsche Esports Supercup. As they're heading up through the top of the S's. Your leaders, they're not going to be close enough to make the move, so we'll look at Joshua Rogers there, and Rogers trying to get the run through the S's, through up the hill. He's got the slipstream, he's making it count, but Sedgwick holding an inside line, making Rogers go the long way around, and Rogers holding it around the outside as well. Sedgwick trying to get the cut back. Great stuff though from Rogers to hold his line there and to stop Sedgwick getting the cut back. So one final position gained for Josh Rogers in that one. He's going to be too far behind to make any moves in front of him. We'll look further forward because it's Gregor Hutu and Max Beneke. They're battling it out for 5th place in this one, and you look at this, both of them former world champions here on iRacing. Gregor Hutu, World Championship Grand Prix Series winner. Max Beneke, World Championship GT Series, the VRS World Championship GT Series, don't forget. As well, the final couple of corners to come now. Phil Sell under pressure from Job, but it's not going to be enough. Job needed another lap in this one, but still could cause a mistake in the final corner. Will Jared Philsell hold on to his car here through the final corner? The answer is going to be a categoric yes. So across the line for round 6 of the Porsche Esports Supercup, it is Jared Philsell from Australia. What a fantastic drive from the Apex Racing Team driver to take victory in the feature race.